Good evening, ladies and gents. Today we're going to be talking about hair care in the Old West. And I got some good news. I got on my bad news. It only works on my phone. But at least I'll sound better. So, I've been doing a lot of research, and it is so hard to find hair care for specifically the American Old West because Victorian times kind of ties into the Old West. It's about the same time period. So, there's not very much on there, but I am slowly kind of figuring out and pinpointing what they would have done. So, I'm going by based off of what they would have done. And, Victorian was an influence. So I'm pretty sure they did that too. And there's a mix of things that they have. From like using whiskey to using Vaseline, castor oil. They did many things. So I'm presuming, because there's not a lot of information, they used what they had. So if they had Vaseline, that's what they would use for their hair care. If they had oils, they used that. So we're going to go through a couple of things that I think that they would have used. And I actually started using in November a specific amount of things on my hair. And it grew so much because I had issues with dryness, split ends, and actually 2 years ago, I completely stopped using a hair straightener, and I was still getting split ends, a little bit of dandruff due to the dry scalp, and so I've been trying to figure out what to do, and I've tried so many products. Nothing worked. So when I was looking up, the old days, the old Victorian times, 1800s, I found a lot of stuff that they did. Some of it is too far, a little bit much, but some of it, I was like, okay, that kind of makes sense. So I decided to try it, and I love it. My hair has been softer. I don't have split ends. The dryness, the dandruff is gone. It does take a while. I started in November and it is February now. But I wanted to take you on the journey with me to see how long my hair grows with just doing these things. And I started out, my hair was like right here at my shoulder. And look how much it grew. It's not a miracle tonic at all, but it is making my hair healthier. And so, what I started to use is a boar bristle brush, completely, 100%, and castor oil. And I'll show you the big jug. It is ginormous. It is a bit pricey, but you get a lot. And a little bit of this oil, which I will get into later, because it is technically for men, but we'll go over the ingredients. It's okay, it's fine. And just a hair tie. This is my hair routine, and I will go through it with you. But let's do some history first. There are many different articles, books, not too many books that are from the time period, but I did look at a couple. I looked at a lot, and I decided to, work on these three, because it kind of goes over a little bit of everything. The first one is the Household Guide, or Domestic Cyclopedia, from 1898. And this one is really interesting because it's a cookbook. It has home remedies, home treatments on all diseases, and nursing, housekeeping, and home adornments. And it tells you how to take care of yourself. For women, men, it has everything in this book. So I found this at the Internet Archive, and it is amazing. So let me know if you want to hear about the whole book or parts of the book. It goes over everything, like how to take care of your house. Like, it's got a lot of information. So, but for now, we're going on the hair. And so it goes over the structure of the hair, the root of the hair, the bulb, the growth of the hair. It goes through all of that. What to do for if hair is falling out. There is no absolute cure. There are no absolute remedies that will restore hair after it is diseased and has fallen out. There are some hair tonics, however, that are beneficial and have a restorative effect. So it goes through all kinds of things. But for us, we're just doing hair care. So it says use a soft brush. Stimulate the roots of the hair by frequent and long continued use of a soft brush. Clip off the split ends, like trimming your hair, to keep the scalp clean. There's nothing better for washing the head than tepid water and Castile soap, to which has been added to a tablespoonful of alcohol, cologne, or bay rum. They use alcohol for a lot of stuff. But if you think about it, that's what mostly everyone had at the time. And this is a good point. I used to dye my hair, and one time I bleached it, and it just destroyed it. It was terrible. It was frizzy all over. It was bad. And it's funny, because in this book, dyeing, if you desire to preserve your hair, carefully avoid all kinds of hair dye. There are some remedies that will darken the hair without injuring it, but any of the regular hair dyes, such as used, are injurious. The color nature has bestowed upon the human hair is more perfect and more beautiful than any imitations which can be produced by any system of dyeing. Gray locks come with age and are not an adornment and not a disgrace. I already have white hairs, so this is natural. This isn't dyed. So, and there it goes by gray hairs. How to make the hair wave. Soft, natural-looking waves of hair are made by rolling the hair over large, soft papers or kid curlers, rolling from the top of the curl toward the end. The hair should be wet and left on the rolls overnight. If that is not done, pinch the curls with a hot iron. If you wish to have the hair set out around the face, turn the teeth of your side combs toward the face and not away from it. So it teaches you how to make curls the natural way. And they did have an iron more later down the line. And I'm pretty sure, I think, yeah, it was cast iron. And you just laid your hair on it because you heated it on the stove. And then that's how the first like kind of curling iron. But a lot of people's hair fell out too because they didn't know how long to leave it on there. And then it teaches you how to clean your hairbrush. Put a teaspoonful or a dessert teaspoonful of aqua ammonia into a basin half full of water. Comb the loose hairs out of the brush, then agitate the water briskly with the brush, and rinse it well with clear water. A few drops of hartshorn put into a little water will clean a hairbrush nicely. If very dirty, use a little soap also. I don't know about the ammonia. That's interesting. But you know, how I clean my brushes is just with a little bit of Comet and water, and you get two brushes together and you just go back and forth, rinse them out really well. It works fine. So I think I'll stick to that. How to take care of the hair. So is very interesting. How to prepare your own hair oil, tonics, shampoos, and the different preparations for the hair and beard, for men too. Cleanliness is the first requisite to a healthy, vigorous growth of hair. So when people say they were like super dirty or like they weren't clean, I mean, you're always going to get the people that it's like toothbrushes and brushing your teeth. You know, it was there, it existed, but it was up to the person to use it, kind of thing. So they were pretty clean, I would say, because like there's lists and lists of how to, they have a whole section on how to take a bath and all the different types of baths that they had that you could do. Now, granted, you mostly did that in like town because you probably didn't have the things you needed to have a bath at home, especially if you were like out in the middle of nowhere. You had an outhouse, you know, that was outside of your house, that was your bathroom, but not very many people had like bathtubs or anything like that. So, you know, we could get into that later. But it should be kept clean by brushing, combing, and washing the scalp thoroughly with soap and water at least once in 2 weeks. So in 1898, they were at least washing their hair every like 2 weeks, from the sounds of it, once in 2 weeks. So it is best to trim the ends of the hair once a month to continue a healthy growth. Washing the hair once a day in cold water produces the healthiest, most lasting growth of hair. Avoid the strong shampoo liquids generally used by barbers. So another interesting thing that I learned is that most of the time women and men, they would actually go to a barber not only to get their hair cut, but to get their hair washed and cleaned too. Kind of like what we do today at a salon. You could either get your hair cut or you could get your hair, you know, shampooed and then cut and everything, the whole thing. They did that then, you know. The barbers were like the hairstylists, you know, for men and women. Women would go there too, not just the men. There are many cases in which the loss of hair cannot be remedied. But there are cases where an application of good, healthy tonics and proper care will restore a new and sufficient growth. So even then, they didn't have really a cure for hair loss. I guess that was a lot. If the hair is inclined to come out, avoid all barber shampoos and sea foams. So they thought that, like, you know, harsh shampoos or like any kind of shampoos would cause harm. So that's why they're like, they only did it, you know, so many times. This is interesting too. Avoid hair oils unless the hair is very stiff and dry, and then use it sparingly. Most all hair dyes are very injurious, like before, and unless the growth of hair is vigorous, it should be carefully avoided. So if you have thin hair or issues with hair loss or any issues with your hair, don't use hair dyes. But this one is from 1898. And, you know, the Old West was from 1860 to like 1901. So they could have done these things and maybe in like, you know, a slightly lighter, like not as in depth So maybe they used an alcohol, like shampoo, and they mixed it with an oil or something like that. They probably just used what they could, what they had. So it's very interesting. And then I found another website, because it's the age-old question. If you brush your hair 100 times, people swear by it, and other people say, no, you're going to break your hair out. You're going to break your hair. It's going to, it's not healthy for your hair. And I like this one because it says exactly what I was thinking, because it depends on the brush you use. So in this one, it says, in the 21st century, many ladies use plastic brushes to detangle their hair. If you use one of those brushes, it can create static and lead to snarls and frazzled hair. In the 1860s, hair brushes were natural bristle brushes. It's like the bar brush. A woman's vanity set would have included 1 or 2 combs to take out the tangles. So it's not even a brush, it's a comb. And then a natural bristle brush to style it. The bristle brush was not used as a detangler. It was used to distribute the oils throughout the hair so it wouldn't accumulate on the roots. This also served to smooth flyaways and to clean the dirt out of the hair, because there was dirt everywhere. There's still dirt everywhere depending on where you live. So I agree with that completely, because I started using the bristle brush, back in November, and it did not take out the tangles. But I learned something very interesting too. If my hair is completely wet, it is easier to take out the tangles, and it doesn't pull. And it doesn't, like with the plastic brushes that I had, synthetic, whatever you want to call them, when I would take a tangle out, it would hurt, but also hair would come with it. And with this one, even though it's not meant for tangles specifically, if I took out a knot with this, it didn't hurt, and it actually didn't pull hair out. But your hair has to be wet, like soaking wet, like when you get out of the shower. Because a lot of times when I get out of the shower, I brush my hair that 100 times with this bristle brush, and my hair is super soft. And I learned now with the, it detangles the knots. It takes out the knots, but it has to be like super wet, and it takes time. So you gotta keep going and keep going. But I didn't know this. Like, this was interesting to me because I didn't know that they used a comb to take out the tangles, and then they used this to take, smooth it out and, do the 100 times to keep the hair healthy and smooth. So my goal for me in trying this is I want to see how long will grow at the end of the year. So in December, how long is it? And did this work? Because they were, you got to think they were onto something, because it was trial and error, and not everything worked. I don't think the ammonia worked. But they do have some good ideas. And I took inspiration from a little bit of everything I've read, avoiding the scary kind of stuff like ammonia. And there was one article that I read, I didn't keep it because it was way out there. They used to use sulfur in their hair, which was interesting. I wonder why. There's a lot of different types of things that they would do. So I went with the safest ones that the very first time I started this, I was like, okay, I'm going to start with the safest stuff and go from there. So I went with the castor oil. I put it on once a week because my hair is dry, but you don't want to do it too much. And I always see that don't use it, it's going to clog your pores, and it is like, because it's thick and it's sticky. Well, not super sticky, but people say it's sticky and it sticks to everything. You're supposed to wash it out. And I don't know if I don't know if they do or not. I don't know. But the way I do it, it's not an issue. And I'll show you. But you just put a little bit dab on my fingers and you massage the scalp. They always say on here too, massage the scalp. There was another article I read, massage the scalp. So, and then you let it sit. They used to put it in the hair, wrap their hair, go to bed, and then wash it out the next morning. I leave it on for about an hour or two. And then I go and wash it out with soap and shampoo and water and just wash it off really good. I haven't had an issue at all. I do it once a week. I started off doing it twice a week because my hair was so dry. And I haven't had an issue at all. Once I washed out my hair, then I brush it. I go in and I brush it. And also, this is the funny one, because I love the smell of the woods. I want to be in the woods. So my husband started using, let's see, this beard cologne. And it smells like pine. I love pine. And you're just like, well, it's beard oil and cologne. It's for your beard. Let me read you the ingredients. It has prunus amygdalatus, could be wrong how I'm pronouncing that, which is sweet almond oil. And then it has jojoba seed oil, argan oil, and castor oil. And then it has the natural scent, so it's the extract of the pine. That's all that's in here. It's just all the oils plus castor oil. So I only put this on like when my hair needs to be like refreshed or I want to smell like pine, like when I'm going out. But I do very, very little because I'm already using the castor oil too. So I don't use it every day. I use it maybe on weekends. And then this I do at the start of the week so it doesn't like coincide with each other. I will show you both today because it's not going to hurt. Like, I'll just put less castor oil. That's all you got to do. And another thing that they would do, and you could actually see even in Red Dead, like Mary Beth and all the women, they usually like have their hair up or in braids. And at night, they're usually like in braids. There's a reason for that. So, and honestly, it makes sense. So, at night, you brush your hair, and you braid it. You put it up because from experience, it preserves the smell of the shampoo or the soap, whatever they used. And like, especially if I put this pine in it, because I let mine, because some say let it dry before putting it up, and some say just to braid it, and it doesn't matter if it's wet or dry. I just do it wet because it's easier, because I just got out of the shower. But when you do that, and because they couldn't wash their hair like we could every other day, or so it was once a week, twice a week, or every 2 weeks, they would be washing their hair like fully with shampoo and everything. When you put your hair up in a braid or in anything like that, it's weird because it preserves the smell, it preserves, the oils. So, and it makes sense because I have wiener dogs. They love to drool in their sleep. And when I had my hair out like this, it would get kind of, weird and everything, so I'd have to wash it like every day. I do it every other day. But when I put it in a braid, I don't have that issue. It holds in everything and it keeps everything else out. So, yes, it was like people were thinking, oh, it was gross because they only washed once a week, every 2 weeks. But they had like other perfumes. They had oils for their hair. And when when you tied it back, it actually preserves that. And it keeps everything else out, like the dirt and everything too. And when you brush it, it also takes those out. Those impurities, as they say. So in a way, it makes sense. And I can see why. I don't think it smelled terrible. There was other reasons why it probably smelled gnarly back then. But it wasn't because of the hair. At least if you followed, these things, it was okay. It wasn't too bad. But that's my thought. There's always going to be smells. That's just the way it is. But with this, it actually works. So my goal is to see how long I can get to the end of the year doing just these steps. And at the end, I found out something cool, how they would curl their hair without the irons and all that, because earlier in the time, they didn't have the cast iron curlers. So what they would do is they would get long sheets of cotton and they would wrap their hair around it, and then they would tie it back up, leave it overnight, and then have a bunch of crazy curls. So my goal is to get my hair long enough to do that, and at the end of the year, we see if that works, and we go from there, and to see how healthy my hair is at the end. So far, it's doing great, but let's keep going. Let's see how it works, and then I will say if I recommend it or not, because everyone's like, you shouldn't do it. You should do it, especially with the castor oil. Obviously, don't do it with ammonia. Don't. They did some weird stuff. So we're not going to go that far. We're sticking with the castor oil. And technically this is extract oil, because they did dilute it, with the oil too. And a bore brush. Fully bore. Now I'm going to show you my daily routine. And then I will show you my weekly routine with the oils. Let's go. an hour with the castor oil in my hair. So now we are going to wash it out with just your normal shampoo. I don't have anything special. I'm not gonna try, the stuff they used to use. That I can't find. I'm not gonna be able to find half of that stuff anymore. So, but we're gonna do it the safe way, normal way. We're gonna wash it out, and we're gonna brush it, and that's gonna be. I'm gonna show you my weekly routine. This is a weekly routine. The first one, just brushing cold water, which sucks in the winter, which it is now, but wash it, but brushing the hair with cold water 100 times. And now this is what I do weekly for my hair, so once a week. So it kind of is what they would do. And then we're going to put a little bit of the oil in, and then I am going to braid it, which I usually do at night. Since I'm washing my hair a little earlier, it's fine. And then I don't have to braid it later tonight. So, let's go ahead and get to washing. So, I'm going to try what I found on that other article, that they used a comb to take out the tangles before the brush. Because that was a recent one that I found. So I'm going to try it and see how well that works. Because that was a new one to me. So, let's see. And another update, our community is up now. If you would like to join up right now, I just have every week, once a week, I do post a fun fact from the 1800s. It's not just the 1890s. So, and you get to learn a little bit of history, and I have fun doing it because I'm learning new things too. So, go ahead and check that out if you want. And before I let you go, I wanted to put another wonderful photo that I took in Red Dead. I have many of these, and I keep finding stuff, so I am having a great time doing this. So, and I will keep you updated on how the hair goes and how long it's going to get. So, thank you for watching, and don't forget to always be unique.